Hello again, and rising from the ashes of the past couple weeks is your favorite video podcast. WVSports.com presents Musings from the Mountains. Almost forgot the name, it's been so long. We have had quite a bit of things going on in our personal lives. Nothing serious, everybody's okay. Family of 3, 5 kids. Family of 5, 3 kids, 5 and under.
Illnesses going around.
Illnesses, snow, you name it.
But we're back.
We're back. We're ready.
It's a better comeback than Edge at the Royal Rumble this year.
Yes, it is. We're back. We got a lot to talk about. Let's just jump straight into basketball. And let me take you back for a second, because back seems to be the key word of this video podcast. February 8th. West Virginia's feeling great. Number 2 seed projected in the first NCAA tournament revealing. West Virginia's on the road at Oklahoma, looking for a big statement win. Fast forward around a month later, 20 days or so. Not so good in West Virginia land. Since the day of that Oklahoma game, they went on to lose that game. They've lost 5 of 6. And the last 2 games are really the cause for concern. 2 teams you beat by 30-plus points. You struggle. You really don't compete for most of the game. You're now looking at a 19-9 basketball team, 7-8 in the conference. You've basically cut your net in half. At one point, you were 7 in the net rankings. You're 16 as of today. And a lot of people are wondering, what's going on?
It's been like that scene in Black Sheep with Chris Farley just falling down that hill. That's what it's been like for West Virginia. Over the last few games, what's going on? You can look at it. A lot of it's just this team. First of all, this team has zero confidence right now. It's showed. And, like Keenan said, you lose to a pair of teams that you just beat, by 30 plus, last month in Morgantown. Now, we knew this team had, problems on the road. And I think, when you look at the Oklahoma loss, Kansas loss, Baylor loss, those ones are a little more understandable because Oklahoma's a good team. They're a good team. They play at home. We know what Kansas and Baylor are capable of. Ever since then, it's just been, this team has zero confidence. That's shown on the floor. There's not a lot of effort plays. Offensively, they can't get anything going. And on defense, they're allowing the straight line drives. They're allowing teams to get wide open looks. It's just, a lot of problems for this West Virginia team. And now you're left thinking, can they win another game in this regular season? That's the question.
And what a scary question to ask. Who thought we'd be asking that question? This was a team that, they've never particularly shot the ball well, but you knew they were going to give you effort on defense. I think the most concerning thing to me, and we can talk about the offense, the issues with forcing the ball inside, how it's gotten stagnant, spacing, inability to create shots for your shooters. We can talk about this stuff all day long. The things that really stood out to me in that loss to Texas, where were the hard, challenging closeouts? It's been a staple of this team all year. Where were efforts on loose ball plays? Where were some of the factors that's really separated this team when they couldn't make shots? And I hate to say it. I don't want to say it, so I'm not going to say it. But you can assume. I'm not saying it, but you're assuming it. That maybe this team's checked out a little bit. And you hate to see that at this point. It's almost like, I saw a tweet the other day, the Bob Huggins post-game bingo, and some of the comments.
I just saw that this morning.
Yeah, you really are seeing a lot of the same comments. And this started before really this thing got ramped up. It started at Iowa State, and it's just continued. And I think, some of that, Bob saw it coming. He feels like his guys aren't giving the same effort. They aren't hitting on some of the same things that kind of made them a special club earlier in the year. But I think, honestly, you got to look at the other side of the coin, too. The coaching staff's culpable here as well. You got to be able to find ways to get your guys shots. You got to be able to find ways to get offense. These teams have scouted West Virginia enough to know what they're trying to do on offense. You got to find ways to get more creative. I think the stat of all stats from that Texas game that just blew my mind, West Virginia attempted 3 threes in the second half, and they were trailing the entire second half. 3 threes. Not one of them was Taz Sherman or Sean McNeil, who's really been your catalyst there. One of them was Gabe Osaboy, who hasn't made one all year. I know it was in desperation, but it speaks to just how broken, how off track, broken maybe not fair, but off track this West Virginia club is offensively, and then defensively, you're not getting the same effort, and it's really led to a lot of problems. This club is losing to teams that not only, they didn't just beat Texas and TCU, and I understand it's hard to win on the road, But let's look at those last 2 road games, guys. The gym
You saw
was
the
empty.
pictures. You saw the pictures.
The gym was empty.
And I really think what's really alarming too is that we knew West Virginia had a very young team, still has a very young team at this point, for the season, and we knew there's probably gonna be some growing pains here or there. But I think what's pretty alarming is that you're seeing a lot. We're obviously seeing a lot more regression than progression. I know something that was always told in high school. I know it's completely different high school and college, but when you're a freshman, by the end of the season you should be playing like a sophomore. When you're a sophomore, by the end of the season you should be playing like a junior, and so on. Not really seeing that right now. He said when you have a young team, there's bound to be growing pains, but you learn from it and you progress. You try to get better from it by the end of the year, and by the end of the season you hope to be playing your best basketball. And that's the complete opposite for West Virginia right now.
Yeah, you look at some of these freshmen too, the ups and downs. Since Miles McBride, who had really been the one guy you could count on to make his own shot, went 7 for 11 against Missouri, really his best, most complete game in a long time. He's gone 22 of 69, that's 32% from the field, and 3 for 25, 12% from 3.
Yikes.
He does not look like the same player, and I'm not singling him out. I guess I am, but I'm not blaming him. I think that's just an example of what Patrick's hitting on. Some of these guys are really struggling. Dave Osaboyan was your guy that facilitated the basketball. You look over, since that Texas Tech game where he scored 15 points, he scored 19 points, but even more alarming, he has 16 turnovers, 15 assists. And that was a number that he was doing a good job at, facilitating the basketball, moving it around. It's just not happening right now for this West Virginia basketball team. You know what's happened, though. We've dwelled on what's happened enough. The question, and everybody's question, is can it be fixed?
I don't know. Really, you would think that, maybe it just takes one game. They need one win. They need a good win. But, at the same time, we thought that when they beat Texas and TCU the way they did, just came out and completely dominated. Will they need a win like that? I don't know. At this point, they look so broken right now that I don't know if just one win is going to be able to fix things. Now, if they get an upset win, maybe say in Baylor on senior day, I believe that's their senior day at the end of the season. Maybe a win over a top team like that can, but I don't know. I just feel like this team has very zero confidence right now. I don't know if just one win is going to be able to do it.
They can't put the ball in the basket. That's very clear. They're 7 for 44 from 3. 7 for 44 over the last 3 games. And pretty much all of that is either Taz Sherman or Sean McNeil. So they can't make an open shot. And, well, not all of them are open. They're not really getting really clean looks at times.
Layups, too. Finishing close to the rim has been a problem,
and they're not making foul shots. 10 for 21 against Texas. You lost that game by 10 points. You missed 11 free throws. And that doesn't even count the 5. Like the count from Sesame Street, 5.
Well,
front end to 1-and-1.
Well, that and you're starting to see. You saw Texas. Texas's strategy was that when West Virginia throws the ball to the bigs, they're in the paint. They're going to foul them. They're like, we're going to make you beat us at the free throw line, and that's a smart strategy because West Virginia, as they've been all season, they've had a couple bright spots here and there, but mostly free throw shooting has just been a complete weakness this year for West Virginia, and it's been showing a lot lately.
Home road splits have almost become laughable with this team. They've lost 7 of 8 in the Big 12. They're 1 for their last 17, I believe, in conference, if you count last year. Now, last year, obviously, West Virginia didn't win a road game, so it's a little slanted, but it's carrying over again. You're in danger of winning 1 of the 9 if you can't find a way to win at Iowa State. So a lot of concerns right now. I think the most concerning thing is Bob Huggins himself said he doesn't know. He doesn't know how to fix it. He said it's on the players, and to a degree it is. You got to get some effort. You got to get to the point where you're doing a lot of the things you're coached to do, but at the same time, it's going to take the coaching staff mixing things up a little bit. You got to get more creative. You got to find ways to get your shots, and you got to find a way to get these guys motivated again because, yeah, you control your own attitude, as Bob Huggins has said, but that's also kind of his job as well, to get these guys ready to play, get them motivated. And I don't think anybody that watched this team in the early portion of the schedule could make an argument that they're anywhere close to playing at the same level that they were at that point. And I know you've got people out there that are going to say, maybe this team overachieved. Yeah, maybe they did. I'm not arguing that. That's not my argument. But you don't blow the brakes off a team the way they did, TCU and Texas, and then turn around and lose the way they did if something hasn't changed. You just don't. That's not how basketball works. They dominated them in areas that West Virginia is a formula that they went in. They out-rebounded them. They played great defense. It didn't travel on the road. And, it's supposed to be defense travels. It's not the case. So we'll find out. West Virginia has a big chance to kind of right their wrongs on a surging Oklahoma team who really has kind of turned their season around. They're in a rough stretch. They were able to beat Texas Tech. And now looking for 2 big wins in a row. You don't want to get swept by the Sooners, especially because they're going to be a bubble team. I think West Virginia's early season resume keeps them off any bubble discussion, regardless of how these next 3 games go. But do you want to rely on what you did in December and January, or do you want to pass the eye test this time of year? Because we've seen this a lot. These teams that really hit these lulls, struggle down the stretch, they don't usually make really deep tournament runs. So in a year as open as this, you'd like to take advantage of every opportunity, and we'll see how it goes. Oklahoma's a huge game for this team. Then you got Iowa State, then you got Baylor. You need to try to find a way, at least to win 2 of those 3 for some momentum. 1 at the very least.
Yeah. But even that, that's...
If you lose all 3 of these games, I think you really start to worry about this team at 19 and 12.
And it's all about getting hot at the right time too. In any sport, but especially basketball when you're getting ready to play in your conference tournament, getting ready for March Madness. It's all about getting hot right at the right time. And for West Virginia, maybe something could start here in this final stretch, regular season games, maybe the Big 12 tournament. But at this point, it just looks unlikely.
A lot of basketball left to play. We've seen it before. Things can change quickly. But we'll see how it plays out. Thanks for tuning in again to another edition of Musings from the Mountains. Got a great promo for a few more days. I know we've missed the window here because we haven't had episodes, but you purchase a subscription, an annual subscription, WVSports.com. You get $49.50 back with our gift code to get yourself West Virginia gear. Get fresh gear.
It's getting warmer outside. Get some West Virginia shorts.
There you go. We got details on the site. We'll put details in the link too.
All kinds of stuff.
And go ahead and hit subscribe. It's your first time watching. We do this regularly. I promise. We usually do this 2-3 times a week. We'll get back to that schedule. But thanks for tuning in again. This has been another edition of Musings from the Mountains.